It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, folks, before I get started on today's episode, I want to go ahead and hang up a new badge in the badge collection. Well, I've been traveling a lot these last few weeks. Last week, I was in Boston at the Ricoh FY 2025 kickoff, and it's always great to go see my friends at Ricoh to present to the team, and thank you again, Ricoh. There'll be more on that in an upcoming episode. But holy smokes, have you all seen this press release coming out of Kaneka? You know, the one where they told the whole world, hey world, we made a big mistake. We originally projected that we were going to lose about $100 million for our FY, which ends March of 2025, but we have to we gotta reforecast. We gotta, increase the projection 279%, because now we're going to be losing about $400 million. The numbers are a bloodbath. When Konica Minolta publishes their FY 2024 numbers, I'll be sure to do an in-depth episode on it. But today what I want to do is talk about this crazy press release, because it is defining a major player in our space as completely mismanaged. I mean, how is it not? I mean, this company, year after year after year, just losses. They squeaked out a little bit of operating profit for the FY, which ended March of 2024. Just a little bit, 2.2%. And here they are now, projecting to lose around $400 million. It's totally insane. Ladies and gentlemen, I used the Forex when I put this together a couple days old, but the original forecast loss was $97.3 million. Now they're saying it's going to be $368.5 million. That's a 279% increase. Who in the hell is in charge of forecasting at Konica Minolta? I mean, I'm thinking that, if the leaders at Konica Minolta were not hypocrites, that when all the salespeople that work at Konica Minolta all over the world come in and miss their forecast by 280%, it's no big deal. I mean, they probably say, it's not a big deal. Or maybe they tell these sales reps that miss their forecasting by 280%, come up with a word salad and explain why this is a good thing. Because that's kind of what the leadership at Konica Minolta does, isn't it? Or are they hypocrites? Do they scream at the salespeople when they miss forecasting? When they're not profitable? Do they scream at them? Do they fire them? Well, maybe the folks that are in charge of forecasting for the company overall need to get screamed at, and maybe the board needs to start firing some people. That's what I'm thinking. Ladies and gentlemen, you saw the press release. In this press release, they say something very interesting. Let me just read it to you. Target and return to highly profitable company in the medium-term business plan for fiscal 2023 to 2025. So in fiscal years 2023 to 2025, we want to return to a highly profitable company. I got to ask Konica Minolta's leadership a question. When the hell was Konica Minolta ever a highly profitable company? Seriously. I mean, when were you a highly profitable company? I'm thinking the leadership of Konica Minolta probably doesn't know, so I did it for them. I went back and did some math. I went to the year 2015. In 2015, Konica Minolta's operating profit was 6.6%. 2016, it was 5.8%. 2017, it was 5.2%. 2018, it was 5.4%. 2019, it was 5.7%. In 2020 is when all hell started breaking loose. They had a 0.5% operating profit. And then, ladies and gentlemen, from there forward, oh my gosh, listen to this. 2021, operating profit loss, $139 million. 2022, operating profit loss, $164 million. 2023, operating profit loss, $660.6 million. In 2023, they squeezed some out. They got some operating profit, 2.2%. And now, just a couple of weeks before they're ready to publish their numbers for the FY 2024, they tell the whole world, we screwed up that forecast by 280%. We're going to lose operating profit loss of $368.5 million. And folks, when did they start changing leadership here in the United States? In 2021, they replaced the CEO here in the United States. And then in 2022, they replaced the CEO here in the United States. And that gentleman's been running it since 2022 here in the U.S. Maybe they need to start really replacing leaders in Japan Because, folks, this is just crazy. This is also a big lesson for our friends at Ricoh. You know, I've been kind of critical of Ricoh's operating profit. Like they barely get any, right? I mean, if they get over 4%, they're happy. And ladies and gentlemen, my good friends over there at Ricoh, you know, Konica Minolta, before the train went off the tracks, they were between 5 and 6% operating profit. You guys are nowhere between 5 and 6% operating profit over there at Ricoh. So when things finally hit the wall for you, are you going to emulate what's going on over there at Konica Minolta? You ought to pay attention. You ought to pay attention. Ladies and gentlemen, the failures and the aspirations of Konica Minolta are alarming. You know, you read the press release about all the wonderful things they're going to do, and then the next press release you read about those wonderful things is when they're divesting themselves of it. And our industry's media and analysts, all they do is copy and paste the press release. They never ask any questions, and everybody acts surprised when they're like, oh, this isn't going to work out for us. As part of Konica Minolta's efforts to return to a profitable company, the company entered into a share purchase agreements to divest Konica Minolta Marketing Services Holding Company Limited, Konica Minolta Marketing Services Holding, and Mobotics AG, respectively, and accordingly, the company expects to record an operating loss of $20.2 billion. Furthermore, as a result of the impairment testing in accordance with the IFRS, the company expects to record impairment losses of approximately $22 billion in the current period. Consequently, operating profit is revised downward by 39 billion yen. Wow. Wow. You know, when the press release came out for Mobotics, everybody was all excited. Going to change Konica's world. I've asked a lot of questions over the years around Mobotics, like how are the costs accounted for? You know, when the folks over in the DWDX division sell Mobotics stuff, how do they account for those costs? Because I've always questioned this corporate etc. account that Konica Minolta has where they dump all kinds of losses. But either way, I guess it doesn't matter now because Konica Minolta is out of Mobotics and out of marketing. Let's think about this marketing services. Marketing services for the first 9 months of the FY that's in question, which ended in March of 2025. Marketing services represented 23% of the $1.4 billion in the professional print business unit, because that's where marketing services lives. So it's safe to say now that when marketing services is no longer part of the professional print business, we're going to see about a 23% decline in revenue in that bucket, right? And the other thing that I've always questioned about this professional print business unit was industrial print. It's a damn popcorn stand. I wanted to put a popcorn stand there. Seriously, folks. I mean, Konica Minolta, first 9 months, $207 million in industrial print. That is not knocking it out of the park by a stretch of the imagination. And Ricoh's in the same boat. Very, very, very low revenue in the industrial print space. And I keep questioning why the hell those folks even in it. When I went through the first 9 months numbers, I shared some thoughts regarding Konica Minolta divesting some of their IT assets in Europe, and I said, hey, you know what? If they're going to do it in Europe, they're probably going to do it here in the U.S., and I'm pretty sure they're probably going to divest themselves of all covered, and that's kind of when I started that rumor, maybe it'll go over to Dex Imaging. I mean, seriously, something's going to happen to it, right? Why would they not divest of it? Maybe the way Konica Minolta returns to a highly profitable company is to get rid of everything. I mean, folks, at the end of the day, here's my thinking regarding Konica Minolta as I wrap this up. I'm thinking Konica Minolta ignored the A4 revolution way back when. I'm thinking Konica Minolta mismanaged IT services. I'm thinking Konica Minolta was delusional regarding MWAI and Forza. I'm thinking KM does not know how to integrate acquisitions and misunderstands the value of what they acquire. I am thinking KM is unrealistically optimistic regarding their place in the industrial print space. And quite honestly, I think they're unrealistically optimistic regarding their place in the future of our industry, because I don't believe they will be in the future of our industry. I am thinking KM knows all of this and is preparing to liquidate. That's my thinking. I'm thinking Konica Minolta realizes we have an inability to forecast. We have an inability to be profitable. all of the word salads that we put out in the marketplace at press releases aren't helping us. Maybe it's time we liquidate. I'm thinking if Konica Minolta liquidates, it'll be a good thing for our industry. And the reason it'll be a good thing for our industry is because if you look at all the OEMs in our industry, doesn't Konica Minolta deserve the prize the most? Because isn't Konica Minolta the worst financially performing OEM in our industry? Ladies and gentlemen, if our industry's media and analysts would do their jobs and scrutinize these OEMs when things need to be scrutinized, maybe the industry would be more prepared. I think about that episode I did not too long ago regarding that stupid contract Konica Minolta came out with. And folks, I was the only dissent in the whole industry that was public about it. Seriously. I think that is a problem. It's alarming. We got some of the industry folks want to double down. They think it's fantastic. It's fantastic that Konica Minolta is going to implement a 90-day cancellation without cause clause. That's exciting for the industry's dealers. They're so excited about that. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the reasons that I was so outspoken about Konica Minolta's new contract is all based on Konica Minolta's financial position, because they are definitely positioning themselves for something. The question you all have to ask yourself is this: what are they positioning themselves for? Personally, I believe to be liquidated. We'll see what happens when they publish the full financials for their FY, which ended March of 2025. I can't wait to go through. Everybody watching me knows this: status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck there, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.